I mean, it's full on Halloween here. It's like mid-August, so.
And like 100 degrees outside, but you know. We're ready.
Halloween. This is Halloween. We went to, obviously, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and we just did a podcast of all about Halloween Horror Nights, which is our first time to go to Halloween Horror Nights. I'm so excited, but Orlando does Halloween right. Like, it is a big deal here. So we're getting in the spirit.
Scratching the surface of what Orlando has to offer with Halloween, because SeaWorld has its own like Hallow Scream event.
I know. Hey everyone, Dan and Leslie here, back for another video about moving to Orlando, our trials and tribulations. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We are a family of 4 who moved across the country from Oklahoma to Orlando, specifically to be next to Disney and Universal. And
we're those crazy people.
I know, we are those crazy people. So all you haters out there, get it out now. This is a video that we've been talking about making for quite some time. It is our experience with getting our kids enrolled and how they are doing in Orange County public schools. So we're gonna just talk through this and have a little bit of a conversation. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We're happy to answer them as best we can. We've lived here for what, 7 months? 7 months?
8 months.
Wow, 8 months. And this is their second semester. So they did spring semester and now they're in fall semester. It started a week and a half ago. They're full on headfirst diving into school.
We are still learning about the schools and kind of the navigating this whole piece of life in Orlando. And so that's kind of why we waited a while, because we really wanted to feel like we had a better handle on how all of it functions here, so that we could give our true thoughts and opinions after, you know, a full semester and then a start of another semester.
Yep, and now Jennings is in middle school, so Aiden has been in high school for 2 semesters, Jennings has been to an elementary school and a middle school, so we have the experience, a little bit of all 3.
Yep.
So again, this is our experience. Your mileage may vary, and this is just Orange County Public Schools in Florida, specifically Windermere. That's where we go. Number 1, Florida has a ton of selections when it comes to school. You can choose a number of different ways to educate your kids. So I really like that about the state of Florida.
Yeah, so I mean, you of course have the option of virtual learning. A lot of areas across the nation have some type of virtual learning option.
You can, of course, homeschool if you'd like to do that. You can pay for private school. Just so you know, the closest private school is Windermere Preparatory School, and I looked up the tuition. First year for like a 9th grader going into high school is gonna be close to $29,000 for that first year. So that is outside of our budget. They do not go there. You have magnet schools, you have charter schools. I honestly don't really know much about them because our kids go to public school. They always have. We loved the public school where we are from in Oklahoma, and it's honestly, it's been very good so far here.
Getting them enrolled was a little bit of a process. What was really interesting to me about getting them enrolled was that, you know, we knew quite a bit in advance that we were moving down here, and so I had all my ducks in a row ready to enroll them. We were actually coming down to visit in like end of October, beginning of November prior to moving. And I wanted to set up appointments with their schools and go ahead and get that process going. Everybody told me no. I'm not certain if that is different if they would have come like over the summer. I think you probably could have, we could have started that process where they actually started like when everybody else did. But since we were coming at a semester break, they didn't want me to come until the first day of school basically for everybody else. And then it took a few days to get all of the paperwork and everything processed.
So if you go to Orange County Public Schools website, you can find the information on how to get your kids enrolled. There are a number of steps. So basically you have to verify all the pertinent information and then get their medical stuff done. So verification of name, date of birth or age, and guardianship is all done through a birth certificate. If you don't have a birth certificate, you can use a passport for name and date of birth at least.
They have to have had a physical exam within the last 12 months completed. So whenever we did this process, it actually could be by any US doctor. Now the website is a little unclear. because it kind of indicates that maybe it needs to be done by a Florida physician. So I would definitely call and verify that information. The actual immunization form, you have to get those transferred over to what's called a Form 680, and that is a Florida form. We did that we were able to do it online through an urgent care facility. It was Paramount Urgent Care that I was able to send the information in. I think I paid them $20 per child, and they transferred all their immunizations over to that form.
Then, of course, you need to verify where you live. You can verify where you live, residents in Orange County, through the homestead exemption card that you can file for once you purchase your home. You can do it through a property tax statement, you can do it through a signed closing contract, or you can do it through a lease. If you don't have one of these things, or if you maybe have maybe wherever you live, you don't have a lease, so like, for instance, you're living with someone else and they have the lease, you have to go to student enrollment, basically, and then they have to give you a form that says, yes, you do live, and then from there, you can use a utility bill with your driver's license and all of that, but student enrollment has to do that.
And then there's a rather large packet of information that you have to fill out.
That's the registration packet. That kind of bundles all this together.
Yes.
So let's talk about transportation real quick. So this is a very confusing part about Orange County Public Schools.
At least it was for us.
So we in Oklahoma are used to basically buses. Everyone buses because it's so spread out. Here, there are so many kids that walk or ride a bike or ride scooters. If you are within 2-mile radius of, like, as the crow flies from the school, and it doesn't matter if you are one house outside of that or inside of that, that is the line. If that line falls behind the front gate of a gated community, that doesn't count, like it's to the gate. So all of that to be said, you do not get to ride the bus if you are within that 2 miles. So for all of last semester, the elementary school that Jennings went to, it was just inside 2 miles, so we had to drive him every day.
Yeah.
The middle school is also within the 2 miles, so he is walking now, and Aiden is riding the bus because it is like right outside the 2 miles.
Woohoo! Yeah, so it's interesting because in Oklahoma, it was a 1 mile distance from the school that they were able to ride the bus. And so, and really the roads and stuff were not necessarily walkable. There weren't tons of like sidewalks on just all of the public roads. Whereas here, sidewalks are everywhere. I mean, you are all the time seeing people riding their bikes and walking and scooters and all of that. So
I will say 2 issues if you think your kids may be walking. Number 1, just give them a ton of safety information, because the last 2 semesters, unfortunately, kids have been struck by cars, and both times it is because the kid was crossing somewhere they shouldn't have been crossing. So
they were both okay, fortunately.
They were both okay, but they weren't crossing. There are tons of crossing guards here. They're everywhere. So just use the crossing guards, use the crosswalks. And then the other thing is 30-30.
Being in Florida, as we have talked about a lot, afternoon storms are just kind of a thing here. And so they, for the safety of the kids, they have to implement what's called a 30-30.
If the thunder is within 30 seconds of the lightning strike, then the school release is delayed by 30 minutes. And if there is another clap of thunder within 30 seconds of a lightning strike within that 30-minute window, then they delay it 30 minutes from whenever that happened. So basically, if there's thunder anywhere in the area, thunder and lightning anywhere in the area, they delay for 30 minutes, and it's just a rolling 30 minutes. Which I get, it's fine. I mean, Florida is the lightning capital of the world, but it actually has less lightning flashes than Oklahoma, where we're from, and they didn't do this. The big frustration is you can go pick up your kid if you want to with a valid ID. You have to go in and check them out during that 30-minute time period. But it's a nightmare. It's
just kind of a mess.
And they don't make any accommodations for parents. So if you're protecting the kids from lightning strikes, great. But then there's like a quarter mile of parents lined up outside the school in the weather, like in these lightning strikes, like waiting to pick up their kids. It's just crazy. So anyway, just be aware of 30-30 down here. I think it's all of Florida, but it's definitely all of Orange County Public Schools. Let's talk school times.
So this was a little getting used to for me as well, because it's definitely a little different than it was in Oklahoma. So high school is the earliest. It starts at 7:20 in the morning.
It starts at 7:20 in the morning. Aiden gets up at 5:30 every morning.
Yeah. Bless his heart. So yes, 7:20 in the morning, and then he gets out at 2:20. There is early release on Wednesdays, and he gets out an hour earlier at 1:20.
Next is elementary school. Elementary school starts at 8:45, releases at 3, and then again, an hour before that on Wednesdays, elementary school is released early at 2. And then middle school is kind of the latest.
Yeah, which is very weird for me, but middle school doesn't start till 9:30 in the morning, and then he gets out at 3:57 with early release on Wednesdays at 2:54.
So those are our schools here in Windermere, and if you look at Orange County Public Schools website, they do have start and release times for all of the schools within Orange County Public Schools, so you can find your specific school. They're all pretty close to that, but some vary within like 15 minutes here or there.
Let's talk communication.
Oh my gosh. So we get more phone calls and emails about the most random stuff from the principal, the superintendent, about everything, like voting. We get multiple per day, and it's gotten to where if I see OCPS on my phone, I automatically send it to voicemail because I know there will leave a voicemail and I will get an email about the exact same thing.
And a text message.
I don't get the text messages.
Oh, I do.
It's not OCPS wide, it's school wide. So like we have one in middle school and one in high school, so we're getting them from both schools. I can't imagine if you have one in all three, you're getting a lot of information. All of that said, you still don't get all the information you need, so you need to follow their social media accounts because that was the only way that we knew when the laptop pickup for high schoolers was, because it was before school started. So
interesting.
It is interesting. I don't know.
With Orange County Public Schools, there is a system called Skyward. That is actually, it holds Canvas as well. So if you are familiar with Canvas, that's a lot of times where students will submit their assignments and such. So you can access their grades in Canvas, but then you can also access them in Skyward. And what's really interesting is that Skyward is going to be the one that's accurate. So Canvas is not always up to date and accurate, so you definitely want to look over in Skyward, but you can follow individual assignments and such and what might be missing and all of that in Canvas and set alerts up. So you can actually set alerts that if your child's grade drops below a certain number, or if you maybe they have individual assignments that are below a certain grade, then you're alerted to it so that you can kind of stay up to speed on all of that.
It's actually really nice. Basically, everyone is assigned a laptop, and that's pretty much how they do the majority of their school work.
Yep.
And then if you don't have access to high-speed internet in your house for whatever reason, they will work with you on how to get that. Let's talk about costs. It does not cost $29,000 like it does to go to Windermere Preparatory Academy to go to OCPS. There are minimal costs though. So in middle school, all of the classes had a donation fee, which is just basically go to school supplies. Total for Jennings, that was $81, plus there was a fee for gym shorts and gym shirts. And then there was a locker fee, like a $6 locker fee for your gym locker. And then Aiden, only one of his classes had a fee, but it was also $80-something because it was like digital technology stuff.
Across the country, lunch money fees are back.
They're back.
It was such a nice couple of years where you didn't have to pay for lunches at school, but they are back. So you can obviously load money in an account, which makes it really convenient for the kids to purchase lunches at school or pack lunches. But then another thing, so we always had the option of before and after school care back in Oklahoma for elementary school. It was never really a thing or talked about for middle school. What's really interesting here, in elementary schools, it is before and after, it's a charged fee type program, but here at middle school, they actually have a before and after program. The mornings cost, for at least our middle school, cost $100 a month, and then after school, it's actually free. It's a free program, so that's kind of nice.
Because they partner with like community organizations, so it's like the Boys and Girls Club is who runs that at our middle school. So
another thing we heard from a listener that is going to move here soon, and they're excited about the schools because of the opportunity to take Japanese. And then one of our friends, her son is actually taking sign language as his foreign language. So there are just really some really cool options.
Real quick, let's talk about how they're doing. They're actually doing very, very well. They've been in their second semester here at OCPS for a week and a half now. They like their classes. It's actually, they love their electives. Aiden has like a theater production where they like build the sets and stuff for the plays. He's in digital media, which he loves. And it's really fun because they had a lot more selection going into this year, not like coming in mid-year. So that was nice to see them get some electives that they really like.
Yeah, and Jennings, I've not ever quite seen as interesting and unique electives as an option here as we have here. But he's in 2-dimensional art. There was also like a 3-dimensional art. There was photography in middle school. Like how cool is that? But he's in 2-dimensional art, and then he's also in theater. And then all kids, which this I kind of love, all kids in middle school here are required to either take a PE class or a dance class. So he is getting physical activity every single day.
It is awesome. I just laughed because I saw his face when we said you could do PE or dance. He's like, I'll do PE, I guess. So
he would actually be really quite good at dance. So
it was just funny. So all that to say, we are loving Orange County Public Schools.
We are.
It's been great for our kids. And if you're considering moving down, hopefully that gives you some information on what to expect when you come down, and maybe a little bit of comfort that it is a good school system, at least for the schools that we have had.
All right, so if you are liking these videos, please hit that like and subscribe button below so you don't miss our next one. Follow along on our dining reviews that we do around Disney and one day Universal and all of the other fun things that we're doing.
And we will see you on the next video.